The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio. The original broadcast date, November 2nd, 2018. Tonight we're talking to Jason Boyd. Jason Boyd is going to be joining me on occasion, frequently, rarely, whatever the hell happens, whenever we have genuine horror guests on Scarefest Radio, because you know what an ignorant ass I am. But so he's going to share some wisdom with us tonight. Got some business to take care of. Okay, everybody. The volunteer applications are out on the website now. You can go to thescarefest.com. The volunteer applications are up. Basically now with the volunteer applications, it's an online thing. You fill it out and you can volunteer to work in one of the many facets of the Scarefest. Speaker applications. Now that's still a little bit analog. We've got them where you can download them online, but you still have to email them back in. So I just put that out there to you. But you can't. But they are up. If you're wanting to speak at the Scarefest, I have stuck it all over Facebook. I want some new speakers. I want some new topics. So come up with something exciting and interesting and controversial, even maybe. But speaker applications are online. And another thing that we're working on. And I'm just going to put this bug out there just to let you know one of the things you might, if you volunteer, then you might be called upon to help with. We are working with the Scarefest people. Scarefest Radio is working with the Scarefest. In other words, I'm working with Brandon and Nicole. We're going to try to put on some celebrity ghost hunts over the course of next year. Probably just 3, maybe 4. We're not going to fill up your calendar, but we are going to try it. That's one of the things we're looking at doing, adding to the Scarefest repertoire, as they say, is not just have the ghost hunts the weekend of Scarefest. We are actually going to try to have some events through the year that you can be a part of and meet some of your favorite paranormal celebrities. And the other thing I want to plug, Black Friday, which is this year. I just told Jason. I think it's the 22nd, right? 23rd, the day after Thanksgiving. The Scarefest Radio episode that day. I don't know who the guest is going to be. We're going to come up with something to do. But because it's Black Friday, we have from the restaurant we were at last week, Winchell's Sports Bar and Winchell's Restaurant and Sports Bar. That's the name of it. They have sponsored a 3-day VIP pass. Okay? So it's not just one of our regular 3-day passes that get you in all weekend. This is a VIP level pass. I don't think it probably doesn't come with a swag bag and that kind of stuff, but it does get you into the VIP party. It does get you into the little extras there. But so that we have that. We're going to give away one of those on Black Friday. And the reason we have it to give away is because none of you losers bothered to come to the restaurant when we did our live show there. Because I know people could hear it because people were talking in the chat room. But we did not give away the pass they had sponsored, so we are going to do that. We are going to give away that pass on Black Friday. Tonight at the half-hour mark, we'll be giving away our autographs. That was Janina Gavankar, I'm sorry, and Darren Bausman. We have your choice. We have autographed pictures from those two people. Janina was Scarefest 6, I believe. Darren was just there this past year. So we've got those to give away. We'll do that at the half-hour mark. We will give you a, I think tonight, I think we will do it. I think we'll do it on Facebook. I think we'll keep it easy. We'll do it on the main Scarefest Facebook page, not the group, the actual The Scarefest page. Just, and I'll decide where. We might do it on the video. If I can monitor the chat efficiently, we'll probably do it there. But if not, we'll do it on a banner. I'll announce it. That's what I do. And don't forget, everybody, Saturday night, fall back. Set your clocks back so that you're an hour in the past, and people in Australia are still like a week ahead of you. So that's what's going on. Jason, welcome to the show.
Well, I appreciate being here. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Scarefest, and of course, been working it for a while, and enjoyed all the fans and all the celebrities and things I've met over the course of the time there. And like I said, I really appreciate Ray and Nicole stepping up and and making it bigger and better each year. So it's been been awesome. And of course, from what I've seen so far, it's just gonna get better and better. So I think everybody will be excited to see what we're bring about this year.
Now, do you agree with me though? Now, this is what my biggest fear is. Okay, we've already started off with awesome celebrity announcements. Very few people have argued that point. Even the people that don't like the announcements thus far. Bruce Campbell. Even they admit it's a really good announcement. I'm just not a fan. Now, here's my fear, though. 2 years ago, when we had Freddy Krueger, the next year, it was so hard to rise to that level. In other words, there's not that many Robert Englands running around in the bushes out there for us to bring in for the weekend. I've already warned them that now you got to get ready next year. Whoever the hell they announce, the other people gonna go, well, you all suck this year.
Yeah, we had some negative feedback on this past year, but at the same time, though, we really actually, I think, come above and beyond the Call of Duty on it, because I know we had a lot of hiccups there along the way, but honestly, Bruce Campbell's been one we've been trying to get for a while, and fortunately, we've actually managed to score him. And honestly, I'd say from a standpoint of in the horror world, we've ran out of Lon Chaney's and Bela Lugosi's, and but we still have Kane Hodder, we've got Robert Englund, we've got Nick Castle, and and of course, like I said, Bruce Campbell. I mean, he's a legend in his own right. So that's to me, that's very impressive. I mean, that alone, I think, is worth checking out Scarefest and just coming to see us. I mean, not to mention we got awesome vendors. I mean, they've really did a hell of a time with the vendors and everything. I mean, they actually listened to a lot of the feedback from us and from the patrons as well. And we've gotten, like, of course, as you can see, I collect masks. So we've had a lot of mask vendors and everything. Brandon, that was one of his big things, was bringing more, people that have horror props and things. So, I mean, I've been nothing but pleased with the vendors the past 2 years. And I think that, with the way it's going, I think it's just going to get better from there. And, like I said, we get more celebrities in. We'll keep cranking out, more announcements and more promos, and I think this year it'll be stronger than the first year that Brandon and Nicole took over. So I'm nothing but excited. I mean,
don't get me wrong, I'm excited as hell. I'm just I know some of the stuff they have in the works, people. Now, some of it will come to fruition and some will not. But if they can get the celebrities that they've already touched base with, everybody will go, oh my God, this is an awesome year. And we'll probably have 20,000 people show up and you won't be able to stir them with a stick. But I'm just saying, next year, I've been on Facebook long enough. I know how people are. And so, in other words, next year, they'll claim we're coasting. If we get Meryl Streep and Kevin frickin' Bacon, they will just claim that we're coasting. That's how people are. Now, one question I like to ask people who get pulled into the Scarefest family. Now, did you follow the typical story where you just came to Scarefest until somebody gave you a job?
Well, actually, I started out as I've been going since year one. I mean, I actually happened to be driving through Lexington at the time and saw the billboard and said, "Hell, I got to check this out." So I went ahead and attended, and I've been going every year. Unfortunately, some years, due to work and things like that, I didn't get time to really thoroughly enjoy it. But I usually go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I think I've been going maybe 5 years now. I think I started out on the lowest man on the totem pole working security, and it just had to be pure luck that I fell into the security the lead role there. I was actually going to work with another volunteer to actually do co-lead, and just so happened he backed out, and they were kind of like here. So I had to pretty much learn everything on the fly and learn make schedules and things out. And it's definitely been productive. Of course, I wear many hats. I do a lot of different things with putting out fires and taking care of vendor concerns, and like you name it.
That should be in the job description of any team lead at the Scarefest, obviously. Now, let's talk about you personally now. We've got a few more minutes before the commercial break. You're, from all accounts that I can see, you're an avid collector. You talked about masks. You've got several posters there behind you now. When... I'm trying to think how to frame this. I mean, have you always been a horror fan? Is it something you grew into? And where did you cross the line from just being a horror fan to a collector?
Well, I guess my love of horror kind of started, I guess, probably when I was about 5, I guess. My uncle and my mom both. My dad, well, he wants to admit it, he's low-key into horror, but my mom was always into horror, and my uncle was always into horror movies. And they used to rent the VCRs, and my uncle would go rent a bunch of horror movies and stuff. And I used to watch like Creep Show and Gates of Hell, and let's see, the Cujo, and so it kind of got me into the whole the whole genre. From there kind of stemmed out, and I wanted to be the celebrities and started getting into collectibles and things. Like I said, I've been watching horror movies. I remember watching them on the old UHF stations and things. As you can see, I got the robot monster there, a very dear friend of mine that gave me, and it's a custom art, piece of art there. Terrible movie by all rights. It's probably one of the worst movies ever made, but it's got a special place, with me. And it's it's silly. It's very out there, I guess you'd say, because like one scene the kid's wearing pants, another scene he's wearing shorts. It's just really terribly edited, but it's a great movie. I like bad movies, so a lot of people will say, well, I hate this movie, so naturally I got to watch it and form my own opinions. But yeah, I've been going strong with it. And then, of course, now with Scarefest and some of these other, the other avenues and things, I've been getting more heavily into collectibles, masks and things. And I've been making and collecting masks for probably since I was 8 years old. Unfortunately, I don't have any of my original masks I made because they got destroyed by sitting on top of the dryer, and they got forgot about. So eventually I'm looking into making more and possibly, making some more custom designs. But huge Dr. Lady fan, if you've ever heard of him. Him and his wife make a lot of old like bee monster type monster masks. And he's got his own YouTube channel, which eventually I'd like to start my own and start showcasing more of the masks and things. I mean, Jim, you guys have seen them, seen my live feeds and seen some of the works that I've got and pieces, and I'll give you a little bit of history about where they came from and everything. So, and one day, like I said, I'll, maybe one day we have some more time on the Scarefest radio, I'll bring out some of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, we got an hour to fill. Everybody, we're going to take our first commercial break. You're watching Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And welcome back to Scarefest Radio. We're talking to Jason Boyd. He is you know him as the security man at the Scarefest. You also know him as the Beard, the famous bearded man. It's so nice to have somebody on the show with me now that I can share beard tips with and sit here and smoke for an hour. That's the other good thing. And did you notice that banner I made for you where the beard actually went over top of the logo?
Yeah, that's impressive because, the beer can't be contained, so.
That just came to me. Talking about bad movies real quick. Now, I'm trying to practice what I preach here on Scarefest Radio. So, interestingly enough, there was something on Amazon Prime that was I think it was the 40 or 50 worst movies ever made, and 2/3 of them were sci-fi and or horror, which just tickled me to death. And the one that you pointed out with the robot monster, that was one of them. I've not seen that one. But so after watching that, I actually tried to look some of them up. I got to see a few of them. Basket Case, for example. But I finally watched, after all these years and hearing about the movie, I'd never seen it. I'd seen bits and pieces. I watched Plan 9 from Outer Space, and I have to say, I don't care what that movie. It was bad. Don't get me wrong, but it was bad. It was bad in the best of ways.
Well, I mean, anybody knows me knows I'm a big Ed Wood fan, so obviously I like the movie. Of course, I'm a big Vampira and Tor Johnson fan as well, which he used Tor Johnson in several of the movies, Bride the Monster for one. But I've always been a big Ed Wood fan. Honestly, I think he was a genius in his own right. I just think that he was born in the wrong era, I guess. But I like Plan 9. It always holds a special place in my heart. And of course, they remade it a couple of years ago. It had Mr. Lobo and some other folks in it. And honestly, it's good. It's very good. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect a whole lot, but I actually watched it, and it's definitely got a lot more zombies in it. Definitely better special effects. There's definitely a lot of bad B films out there. And then, of course, naturally there's a lot of rip-offs of other classic B films. And I've even noticed, though, a lot of more modern horror, a lot of the things it's like one of the ones I watched the other day, the Creature with the Atomic Brain. That actually is along the same veins as Universal Soldier, and there was another one I can't think of right off the top of my head, a more modern movie that it blatantly ripped it off. I mean, it was, they do the whole chip implant in the brain. They have superhuman strength. They bleed radiation. So it was, and that movie's really ahead of its time. I mean, it was pretty graphic to be, 1958, I think is when it was.
I think as far as modern B movies, my biggest complaint, because I've done a lot of them, especially when we were doing all the Scream Queens for Scarefest 11. And my biggest disappointment in it seems to me like a lot of the B horror movies, I understand making a movie on a budget, but it seems like a lot of them decided because we can't have the professional writing, we can't have the special effects that we want. They substituted humor to the point where the movie suffered. I think a lot of the movies that I watched that came out basically as a comedy, I don't think they started out that way in concept. Is that something, do you feel that way about the lower grade B movies, or do you appreciate it as an art form as such?
I'm actually a very big advocate for the independent films and things. But you're right. I mean, a lot of the, I guess directors, they I guess they figure they got an iPhone. They have plenty of zombie makeup out on the Halloween sales at Walmart. So a lot of people will go for the whole zombie movie effect. They try to throw a little bit of mixture comedy in there, but honestly, there's only a handful of movies I've actually seen that combine horror and comedy and actually, blended it in well. Shaun of the Dead was actually an excellent movie. I love it. I still, this day is one of my favorite movies. But there was a couple of copies. There was Juan of the Dead. It was a Spanish-made film, I think. I didn't particularly care a whole lot for it. It had a few funny moments in it, but all in all, it was pretty terrible. There was one called Zombies, and yes, it's actually the title. It was cleverly done. I don't think they really had a big budget, and a bunch of no-name actors, but it was really well done how they did the whole zombie. The zombies actually thought they were human. They just thought that the humans were moving faster than them. So it was kind of done from the whole zombies point of view. And there's one called Dead and Deader that's actually pretty funny. So I mean, a lot of them, it's definitely hit or miss, especially like places like Amazon Prime. You'll find a lot of low budget, independent films and things on there that. In theory, you look at the title and you're thinking, "Oh, this don't sound too bad." You read the storyline, you're like, "Hey, I can get behind this." You watch it, and it's just god awful. And there's a couple actually, even though I like bad films, I had to turn off because they were just that bad.
Now, one that actually, I guess it was, I want to say it was a 2014 movie, but they're getting ready to make a series out of it. I tripped over it on, I believe, I might be wrong, but I think it's on Netflix. But it's called What We Do in the Shadows. And basically, for the viewers, it's a documentary about modern day vampires. That's the concept. It is hilarious. It is hilarious, and it's got some really good special effects in it. I mean, the flying, the transition turn into a bat, and the blood, plenty of blood. I mean, it's funnier than it is scary, obviously, but it is one I watch and it really impressed the hell out of me. And I understand they are making a series out of it, and so that is one of my recent. I'm going to watch it again, and I don't watch that many movies again. Have you got to see that one yet?
I did actually, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a really funny show. I'm glad to see they're actually making a show out of it though. Amazon Prime actually was going to. They did a few pilot episodes of Zombieland. I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but Zombieland was actually supposed to be brought in as a TV series, and that was what the whole zombie kill of the week and the the different the rules and everything he came up with, and that was actually designed to be a television series, and Netflix actually did do a couple pilot episodes. Hilarious, I loved it, but unfortunately it didn't catch on, and they tanked it. But I actually got into some of the Netflix. I usually kind of stay away from shows and things until the entire series is out because I like to sit and binge watch them. And like I said, I love Z Nation. I think it's and that's the fact I like Asylum because Asylum doesn't take itself seriously, and Z Nation has got just all kinds of crazy stuff, psychics and talking zombies, atomic zombies. Like I think it's called Zomweed or something, where it's like weed that's been grown by using zombie fertilizer. Just doesn't take itself seriously, and it's a lot of it's funny. And then there's the one I actually started recently watching is the Haunting of Hill House, and somebody actually got me into watching that, so I'm slowly catching up momentum on it and watching it again. But yeah, some of these television shows and things that are out, I have to sit down and make myself watch them because I'm not I like to binge watch everything. So, but yeah, I'm glad to actually sit here about the series about it because the vampire genre has kind of lost momentum with the whole Twilight and some of the more glamorous vampire style films. So I'm really glad to see they're actually going to go in a touch of old school, and like they have the Nosferatu character in there. I think that was just fantastic, and he didn't really say anything. So.
Yeah, that like I said, they covered the genres. They really, I mean, they didn't. Obviously, they didn't fold in the sparkly vampires, but they actually did bring it pretty much up to modern day. In other words, you had all the different eras of time. So anybody that if you haven't seen that yet, find it. It's Amazon Prime or Netflix but it's streaming right now, and it's a really great movie. The you brought up Z Nation. I need to go back and catch up on Z Nation. I got busy or something, and I only made it through like I think season 2, and they're probably on season 4 by now, aren't they? Or maybe further.
I think, let's see, I want to say they're up to maybe season 4 right at the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, initially when it first started out, of course, it was trying to, I guess play the kind of play the Walking Dead role there. And as it kind of went on, I guess they kind of realized, it doesn't want to they don't want to take themselves seriously. So it kind of got silly later on with the whole hybrid zombies and the mind control and everything. And and I think there for a while, I don't remember exactly what happened. I think one of the stations that I used to have, that Sci-Fi Channel, I think, actually was taken off the dish or whatever it was I had at the time. So unfortunately, I missed out on the season, and then I tried to catch up with it, and so I'm actually kind of waiting for Netflix to kind of catch up. And there for a while I was actually watching them online, and trying to keep up with all the episodes. But I actually get to meet some of the cast at one of the Comic Cons one time, and they're just fantastic people. I mean, very impressionable. They actually like talking to their fans and everything. I would love to actually have them at Scarefest at some point in time, but unfortunately, I think they're filming usually around the time that we do Scarefest. But I mean, I got to meet Doc, and I got to meet Murphy, the hybrid zombie guy, and they were just super, super nice people. Like I said, I would love to get them there at Scarefest. But yeah, it's got a whole range of zombies. I mean, if you've ever read any kind of zombie survival guides and things, you have the atomic zombies, you've got the smart zombies, fast zombies, toxic. They cover them all, and just like I said, it's great.
Now we're gonna kick over to the chat room a moment here. We've been asked from the Facebook chat, your thoughts on killer clowns from outer space.
Well, actually, that's probably one of my all-time favorite movies, just because, naturally from a psychological standpoint, people, for whatever reason, are scared of clowns. And this movie kind of does a little bit of combination between, humor and the slapstick of clowns, but makes it deadly. The whole the living popcorn and the candy cocoons that they have, cotton candy. Even the puppet scene where he has his hand in the sheriff's back there. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. And I've just actually started putting together a Killer Clowns costume. I'm trying to do the Fatso. And I know we had discussed we have a costume group, and we call ourselves the Harrisburg Boogeymen. But we do a lot of different cosplay things, and we're starting to break out more into trying to do more mainstream stuff. And Killer Clowns was actually one of the ones we had discussed doing, and trying to cover all the different Killer Clowns and maybe do some photo shoots and stuff with people. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite films, and it has Suzanne Snyder in it as well. She's of course from Return of the Living Dead 2 and a few other sequels. So it's one of the first ones I saw back whenever I was a kid, and just completely blew my mind. I was like, how can clowns be scary? But after watching it, it's kind of like, okay, I could see that.
Everybody, we're going to take our second commercial break of the hour. When we come back, we will do our contest. Just to give you a heads up, we're going to do it on the Scarefest page, facebook.com/page/the Scarefest. We are going to do it on the announcement from 2 hours ago for tonight's show. I have posted on it contest here, so you'll know you're on the right announcement. But it'll be the announcement for tonight's show. It'll be too confusing to do it in the chat room, so we're going to actually do it on the announcement, but you'll know you're looking at the right one if you see the words contest here posted by the Scarefest. We will be right back.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to CoyoteChris.com to learn more. Read through there and give me those two pictures, or the two on top there. We are going to do our autograph giveaway tonight. Let's see here. I'll go ahead. That's the fancy banner we made, showing you that Janina Gavankar or Darren Bousman. Of course, Janina is from True Blood. Darren was the director of some of the Saw movies. Switch camera. There, see? Whoop, wait a minute. I was looking up her dress. Sorry about that, Janina. Okay, now there we go. We have autographed pictures of those two people. The winner will get their choice. Tonight, I would like to see the first person to post under that banner where I have already posted as the Scarefest that contest here. Respect the beard. Respect the beard. That will be tonight's tagline for the show. Then you will get a choice. We will mail you an autographed 8x10 glossy photo of one of your favorite stars to add to your collection. Let's just do some basic questions while we're waiting for somebody to win. Let's start with horror movie franchise. What is your favorite? Now, I'm not talking about just one movie. I'm talking about one that's actually, become a franchise.
Well, I honestly, as far as with more modern horror, I usually, it's really hit or miss with me. I think a lot of it's gone to the whole found footage and the the hauntings and the demon possession and stuff, which is, to me, is kind of they're beating a dead horse with it. But like I said, I've always been a huge fan of zombies, and that's one of the things that I really tend to stick to is the zombies. I like werewolves, slashers, and every once in a while I'll stumble across something. And Shudder is actually an excellent source of horror if you ever have a chance to get it. It's like $4 a month, I think, $4 or $5, and
that's where I watch Basket Case.
Yeah, and it's like they mix it up a lot. They actually have a pretty good selection there. And one of the films I actually watched on there, it was unfortunately it was subtitled, but I actually went and bought the DVD, is Train to Busan, which is a Korean zombie film. They completely blew me away with that one. Very 28 Days Later-ish, but obviously they are zombies. But they're fast-moving. They are relentless. It's kind of World War Z type movie. A little obscure, like I said. It's starting to get a strong following, though. But yeah, I mean, I would say zombies is probably something. I know a lot of people are getting burned out on it, but that's something I always still enjoy. And I like a good slasher film. I actually watched one, oddly enough, it was by WWE Pictures, and which is the wrestling group there. And it had a different outtake on the whole slasher. The guy was it was more psychological, and he was training and grooming his next, I guess, replacement, I guess. So it was definitely a thinking man's film. I was pleasantly surprised, being, like I said, I'm not big into wrestling or anything. So, but I didn't think WWE could pull off horror, but they did it nicely.
All right, we already have a winner. That might be as fast as anybody has ever won something. Now explain this to me. Why am I having better luck giving away autographed pictures that people could have already got than I do when I give away tickets? Somebody explain that to me. I give away tickets and people, okay, I'll try to. We've got a winner. Candace Sailor Brock, you are the winner tonight, and we will get in touch with you after the show and find out which photo you would like and find out where to mail them to. So we do have our winner, so everybody else can just quit playing now. Just stop it. What do you think? Is there any movie that comes to mind? And we'll stick with modern. Well, actually, it doesn't have to be modern, but we'll stick with modern. I know you've already kind of talked about the found footage thing, But is there any particular movie that's really been popular that you, in your opinion, in your humble opinion, is just a little bit overrated?
Well, let's see. I guess I would have to say one of the ones that I really, and I'm sure I'm probably getting a lot of hate mail for this one, but I didn't like the Blair Witch Project. I just thought it was silly, all through and through. Paranormal Activity, I can't stand. I think they just kind of drove it into the ground. The first one or two, it's doable, but it just seems like they started coming out with more of them, and they started kind of putting it into the ground at that point. And the Cloverfield, I guess, which the only thing that irritates me about the Cloverfield thing is the fact that it shares the name. Of course, you have the big giant monster with the killer fleas or whatever it was it had. Then you have the Cloverfield with what was it? This one was actually
Paradox.
good.
The Cloverfield Paradox was one of them.
Yeah, and which I think that was the one. I think the last one they came out with, and it was something.
And there was another one in between. Where they're in the bunker.
Yeah, that one was actually got John Goodman in it. It was actually good. I liked it. Because it led you to believe this guy was just insane, and one of these conspiracy theories types there, but it actually ended up being an actual alien invasion. So, and it's kind of misleading, I think, because you think Cloverfield, you think but they have nothing to do with each other, and I think it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, now did they have nothing to do with each other, or was that? I realize the ties are tenuous, but now especially when Paradox came out, a lot of people online were trying to explain how these were all part of a universe, if you will. So in other words, it wasn't a consecutive line, but there really wasn't anything in any of the movies that made it look like, that I know of, that stopped it from being part of the same story.
I mean, I think the only thing they really shared in terms of, I guess, in likeness was the name and the fact that they had some sort of an alien or space theme to it, I guess. Which the original Cloverfield, a lot of people argue and say that's an alien. I don't think so. I think it's more of a Godzilla type creature that was just dormant. I don't know if it ever really does say, but some of the people, I was actually discussing it with somebody the other day about it, and they said, well, what about those things that were falling from the sky? And they said, well, those were aliens. I was like, no, those were giant fleas or parasites or whatever it was that the creature was throwing off of it. So, I mean, yeah, I think aside from the space science fiction theme, I think that's about the only really semblance, that it really has to any of the films as far as tying into them and obviously sharing the name. But, and honestly, another thing I'm really and I think I speak for all horror fans on this one, is the reboots. I really wish they'd stop with reboots and start coming up with more original content. I really didn't like the new Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know really too many people that did. It seemed like to me they kind of pacified a lot of the, popular slashers that we grew up with, Freddy Krueger and now obviously I think Rob Zombie did a really good job. Again, I might get hate on this one, but with the Halloween, I think that was actually a pretty good reboot for the most part. And, a lot of people didn't like it, but I think maybe the storyline got a little bit drug out with why Michael Myers became, Michael Myers, I guess, the emotional problems he has as a child. I think that might have been drug out a little too much, but it's still kind of better than the fact that Halloween jumps around with all these different, he's immortal, there's a curse, then, or, the whole, he's just, indestructible. And yeah, I just really wish they'd kind of pick a timeline and go with it. So
I agree with you, especially on the whole concept of reboots and remakes. I don't have a problem with a remake when it's a movie that has kind of faded from view. But when you're talking about Friday the 13th, when you're talking about Halloween, my problem with that is those are movies that, even though I realize there's a new generation of viewers that may not have seen them, they're still part of the culture. I don't know of anybody, when you say Nightmare on Elm Street, that doesn't know what you're talking about. Now, when there's some it suffered by comparison, I'm told, but 13 Ghost, for example. Everybody said, "Oh, the remake was just it was nothing like the original was so much better." I have no opinion. I haven't seen the original. But that one was one that was, far enough back that rebooting the story or retelling the story with the modern conveniences, if you will, it made sense to me. But I don't see the point in just doing it because of the name. And now there will be my hate mail. I like original ideas, even though I'm fairly sure I haven't had one for the last 30 years myself. But I do like movies that take something that creates. I like to see something created.
Oh yeah,
bottom up. That's my favorite type of movie.
Which is instantly why I like the independent films, because a lot of those independent directors and things come up with more original. I mean, in my opinion, more original ideas. I can't really say that a lot of the remakes, I guess. And to me, there's a difference between reboots and remakes. There was the original Thing. The Thing, from 1982, I think was just far scary. It was flat scary as hell compared to the first one. And then, of course, you had the 13 Ghosts. I like the first one just because it had the specter vision or the special glasses that you had to wear, because in the theater you couldn't see the ghosts on screen. You had to have these special, I guess they were like 3D glasses that you could only see the ghosts, which is kind of where the glasses came into the remake, because obviously they couldn't see the ghosts without them. So that was kind of a nice little nod to the original from that. And, with the ghosts in the original, I don't know, I like the fact they kind of tied the whole Black Zodiac into it and everything. So, and of course, I think the Fog, was remade. I don't know if I love the original Fog, but I don't know that I actually ever saw the remake as being better or worse, I guess. So, I guess it's kind of why I'm, a lot of people argue and say, well, that's, this is a reboot or this is a No, I think a reboot is when they try to take a whole fresh new, or I guess take an old idea and make a fresh new concept out of it. And, to me, Jason seemed more like in the remake of Friday the 13th was more of a kidnapper, I guess, than he was, just some psychotic, guy that was, cutting up people for just, for the heck of it. And then, with the, Nightmare on Elm Street, I think what made those movies so great with Robert Englund is because they had a slight bit of dark humor to them. Just all the different creative ways he would kill the teenagers in their dreams. This new Freddy, I don't know. I just couldn't get into him. He didn't seem clever. He just kind of was like there, just killing people just because why not, So, I'd definitely say that, as far as I can't really say, some remakes aren't better. I think House on Haunted Hill. Love the original House on Haunted Hill. It's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm a big Vincent Price fan, of course, but the remake actually wasn't terrible. But House of Wax, again, love the original House of Wax. The remake, the only thing I really enjoyed was watching Paris Hilton get slaughtered in that one. But aside from that, I think a lot of the remakes were done. Dawn of the Dead. That was another prime example. A lot of people hated the Fast Zombies thing. I kind of wish they had not went with the Dawn of the Dead theme and just went with its own storyline. Because honestly, Fast Zombies are scary, no matter how you look at them. And I think they really did a great job with it. Again, a lot of people hated it because it shared the name of the original Dawn of the Dead. And if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's on YouTube. It's called Dawn of the Dead Extended Mall Hours. It's probably the best cut of Dawn of the Dead I've ever seen. It's got the director's cut in it. It's got the the edited versions or edited things that were cut out of the original film that were put back into it. It's like over 3 hours long, but it's probably hands down the best Dawn of the Dead ever.
I don't have 3 hours. Okay, everybody, final commercial break of the hour. We'll be right back.
Most people, when they think of vodka, think of the cold climates of Russia, Poland, and Sweden. Not this.
Yeah.
But here in Austin, Texas, we're on the trail of a vodka that's making waves throughout the spirit business, beating the Russians and some of the biggest names in vodka at their own game and winning a lot of awards in the process. Of course, you'd never know it by the looks of it.
Well, I had a plan initially to do all kinds of whiskey and vodka, but I went to the liquor store. They told me if I could make a really smooth vodka that a girl could drink straight, then I would have something. They sell more vodka than they do whiskey. It's the biggest segment of the liquor industry.
While Tito made the origins of his vodka sound simple, he was in fact a former petrochemical engineer who tinkered his way to vodka success, using pictures of old moonshine stills as his guide.
Well, this is where it all started, right here. This is a pot still. Well, my vodka is made out of 100% corn. People think that it's made out of potatoes, but most vodka is made out of grain.
How many from corn?
You know, I don't know for sure, but out of tasting everybody else's, I think that mine might be the only one out of corn. To answer your question, it's really what you take out of it that makes it so good.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
So whether it was the limestone purified Austin water or the fact that Tito distills his vodka at least 6 times, we had discovered that in the world of super premium, beautifully packaged vodkas, you can't always judge a vodka by its label.
I try to just make the world's best vodka and keep the quality the same every time. I don't make a fancy package or anything because you drink the vodka and you don't drink the glass bottle.
So there you have it from here at Tito's Handmade Vodkas in Austin, Texas. Cheers.
And there was our shout out to Tito's Handmade Vodka, a sponsor of the Scarefest. So, Jason, you are well known for your beard. What do you do for beard maintenance?
Well, actually quite a bit. Believe it or not, it started out as being I'm just lazy, didn't want to shave, and it kind of developed into the mane that you see before you. And I'd like to give out a shout out to Trey Mana, which is some of our own staff had started up their own beard care products and things, and I'm the official spokesbeard for that. And but yeah, I actually went with the Dollar Beard Club initially and got some shampoos and like oils and things, and then I started using Trey Mana with some of their oils, and which I think honestly are better. They have a better selection, better variety, and of course they're made. It's all natural, so that's something else that I'm really big on. Conditioner, I brush and keep it, try to keep it, looking nice and fluffy, and it's definitely a lot of work, though. I never really thought, I figured being clean shaven would actually probably be more work, but no, not really. So yeah, you have to take it, get it shaped up every so often because I get looking like a crazy homeless person or something every once in a while. But yeah, like I said, if you guys ever get a chance to check them out, they're on Facebook, and like I said, they got a lot of selections and things, and of course they're always creating something too. So if you guys want to actually find out my personal preferences, like I said, I like the citrus. It's got I think ginger and some other more citrus smells to it and things. So it's definitely a lot better than the woodsy smells that you'll find at anywhere else, Walmart and places like that. And their prices are a lot better as well. That's the problem with beard care products. I think it's kind of like they know you need it, so they jack the prices up on it. At most of the retails.
I need to hit them up for sponsorship because everybody knows now it is winter. Now, this is not part of No Shave November. No Shave November to me is just November. But because I am out in the cold air and everything, it started off, I just didn't shave as much in the winter. Now I have a tradition. I'm not shaving until, even then I won't shave, but I'm not cutting it back until probably March. And so I'm going to see this year just what I can do with it. The problem with my beard is it wants to grow out as much as it does down. Do you have that problem where in other words, you're basically 2 sideburns with a prairie dog in your mouth?
Well, the hardest thing that I have with mine is definitely the sideburns because My hair is naturally wavy, and of course the beard is really no exception to that. So if I don't keep this here lined up on both sides, it wants to start waving out. And I've got a natural dip, which you really can't see, but I can actually stick my finger in there, and actually that's where my chin actually is. So it's interesting because it gets to that point and it starts waving in. And then if I let the sideburns grow, I get those, I like to call them the Jewish style where they curl and they get long and everything. So, yeah, I definitely, my barber actually does a really great job of keeping that lined up there, because I try to get it, shaped up every so often, just so, again, it won't look like I'm, some kind of crazy mountain cannibal or something. But, yeah, it definitely, and I even tried straightening it at one time just out of curiosity to see what it looked like, as I keep underneath there shaved, up to a point. And I had the whole Gandalf thing going on because it was actually like down to the middle of my chin, or I'm sorry, middle of my chest there. And yeah, it was interesting. But I have to say though, I'm kind of thankful in this case that the beard is actually wavy and curly and everything. My hair, not so much, because it's really extremely hard to style, and the humidity is just a bitch for it. So,
okay, we're at the end of the show. Now, last thing I want to go over with Jason, everybody. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Jason will be a recurring co-host on the show. He has also graciously offered, through all the contacts that he's made, through his other endeavors, if you will. He's going to help us book the show. So we're going to be bringing in some horror guests. And the hardest part of this is that we have to keep in mind, everybody, that an appearance on the show is not the same as an appearance at the Scarefest. We used to have a disclaimer at the beginning, because for a while there, that's all I was booking. But we are going to be having some really exciting guests coming up. Jason's going to help us arrange that. The only other question I'll have, Jason, for you is when you were, of course, I invited you. I know you talked to Brandon about it. What do you envision your contribution to the juggernaut that is the Scarefest Radio? How do you envision your contribution to it?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think, we're horror and paranormal. So I think that, honestly, a lot of people would like to, I think, kind of get down. I mean, I know we have the celebrities and things there at Scarefest, but a lot of times, the celebrities, especially in the heat of the moment, people feel like they're being rushed and everything. So I would actually like to get some more folks in here and actually have the fans actually maybe ask some questions and things, and we can maybe start posting that. We'll announce, who's going to be doing a guest star on here, and maybe have the fans ask questions. What were their favorite roles? What character do they enjoy the most? How do they get into acting? Because there's a lot of questions I think that a lot of people want to ask. And when you get to Scarefest, obviously, when you meet some of the celebrities, you're starstruck, and you're kind of like, you have all these, ideas in your head and all these questions. And like when I met George Romero, for instance, prime example, I'm a huge George Romero fan, and I had the privilege of actually meeting him twice. So the first time I had all these questions and had them wrote down on a notepad, and I stepped up. He, smiled, and I just couldn't get anything out. I was like, I'm just a fan, and that's really all I could get out. I was completely starstruck. So I think this time around, if we can get people in, to ask questions and things, and maybe, some things that maybe have been burning on their mind for a while, we can get more personal with some of the celebrities, because a lot of them I'm friends with and stuff are just really great people. They're and they put their pants on one leg at a time like we do. They're very impressionable. They have cute pets. They have they show off their families and everything. So I think a lot of them it would be a lot more down and make them more, show them that they're actually just people, they're really down to earth. And of course, like I said, I've got a large range of, I got Friday the 13th, ranging from 1 all the way up to Freddy versus Jason. I've got a lot of the Nightmare on Elm Street cast. I've got, some actually folks from Killer Clowns. So, maybe hopefully we can, maybe work out some spots with them, and we can get them on here, and you guys can start asking a lot of questions and things that that you've been wanting to ask them, and maybe just never could because you're like me and get starstruck.
That's actually a good idea. We of course we monitor the chat rooms at the Scarefest at scarefestradio.com. We try to monitor. We don't monitor Twitter at all. So if you ever ask anything on Twitter, suck it. We just can't watch it. But we do try to watch the chat rooms on Facebook. We'll have 2 running generally. I did a really sucky job of watching the Scarefest chat room tonight. But we do actually try to work in everybody's questions. But maybe doing it ahead of time would be a good way to go. Thank you, Jason, and we're looking forward to seeing you. People, plans are right now, he'll be back in just a week or two. About 2 weeks.
It's been great. Like I said, I hope to maybe, like I said, we can get some more the horror fans in here and start asking a lot of more questions and things. But
absolutely,
yeah,
the bullshit that I ask horror guests most of the time is just useless banter. That's and I'm proud of it. That's my shtick.
Well, that's kind of like me with paranormal. I mean, like I said, the paranormal folks I've met, and then some of the ones I'm friends with on Facebook are just fantastic people. But I'm just not in the whole paranormal thing as much as I am to horror. So a lot of times, people are like, "Oh my God, so and so," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Well, what do you like most about their TV show, or what do you like most about?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't watch their stuff. I mean, I talk to them, like, "Hey, how's the weather? How's the family?" But yeah, it's just like I said, it's not that I don't believe in paranormal stuff. I just, I grew up into horror and things, and I was into paranormal as a kid, but it's just one of those things where, horror has always been something I've always been into, and it's one of my true loves. So, but, and like I said, hopefully we can get a lot more people in here. We can start, really interact with the fans. Cause I know a lot of you guys have, got a lot of questions and things you want to ask. And, I think we could really, blow this out of the water. So.
Absolutely. While we're on the topic of the paranormal, we need to plug the SuperCon. The SuperCon in Middletown, Ohio, November. It's tonight if you want Ghost Hunt, but it's too late for that. But tomorrow I will be in Middletown, Ohio, at the Poasttown Elementary School. A little Paracon up there, featuring such names as Dalen Spratt from Ghost Brothers, Carmen Reed of The Haunting in Connecticut, and guys, a bunch of wrestlers. And then other than that, I'm like the third, fourth most famous person there, if you don't count wrestlers. So, but come by, and I will be doing my really bad tarot readings. Everybody, you've been watching Scarefest Radio. Don't forget, next week we got Mr. Rick McCollum. Mr. Rick McCollum coming on to talk ghost hunting. It's not going to be a movie show. It is going to be, we're just devoting the hour to his antics in the ghost hunting field. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Jason, welcome to the co-host spot. Everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio.